welcome to the Swift Half, your weekly session of chat from the UK OCR and adventure running scene. Each week, pub landlord Alan and our favourite regular Ian discuss races, runners and anything else that comes to mind. So pull up a pew, pour yourself a drink and join us for the Swift Half.
You're listening to the 18th most popular podcast for listeners who know you can be both dexterous and sinister.
Ian, my friend, welcome to another edition of the Swift Half. How are you?
I'm great, Alan. How are you doing?
Well, I'm actually all right, but I've got a story to tell. So you've actually just stopped me from doing DIY, Ian. So what people can't see, if this were on video now, I could show you my drills. I'm actually going to show you them. Where are they? They're down this side. Look, I've got my drills out. Here's my box of drills. So my drills and everything out, because I've just been putting up a new camera outside my house.
Okay, am I going to want to know why you're doing this?
Yes. So, recently there's been a spate of where I live of people trying car doors. So nothing new. They do that wherever people live or anything else. However, this week I got a letter through the post from South Yorkshire Police. So I got one on Friday, then I got one on Saturday. And one of them was for a speeding ticket. I was caught speeding in a 30-mile-an-hour zone in excess of 70 miles an hour. And then the one for the following day, I was caught speeding in another 30-mile-an-hour zone in excess of 60 miles an hour. So
I've seen you drive. You can't reach them speeds.
No, I don't reach them speeds in. I don't remember. Even on motorways, I'm lucky if I get past 70 mile an hour. In fact, I don't. I drive within the speed limit everywhere I go. So I was shocked. Then I looked at the times on these tickets, and they happened to be late at night. I think one was 11:30, and the other one was like 1 o'clock in the morning. Well, at that time, I'm in bed. 100% I'm in bed. So I thought, it's not me, no, whatever. So I filled it all in. I wasn't driving the car, blah, 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 blah. Then I get a phone call from a really nice girl called Laura, South Yorkshire Police. You've put down this wasn't your car. Do you know where your car was? So I said, I think it's on my drive. I think it was on my drive. Have you got camera evidence it was on your drive? I hadn't got camera evidence it was on my drive. I have got a Ring doorbell, but that just shows when someone comes and rings your doorbell and goes away. So I've had to go a little bit of a palaver. It wasn't my car. I've seen the evidence. It wasn't my car. My car's been cloned. The number plate's been put onto another BMW silver. However, you can clearly see it's not my car because the car in the picture has got a twin exhaust and mine's only got one exhaust. So it's been written off, but they turned around to me, the police, and suggested that we had cameras installed. So I have been fitting a camera before we started recording tonight outside my house, all fancy dangly. It actually tracks someone when they come in the garden as well. So if anyone opens my gate, it actually tracks them and follows them around wherever they go. How good's that?
It is good, although I am kind of depressed that the police's first port of call was you said, "Oh, I'm innocent," and they would say, "Well, can you prove you're innocent?"
Actually, I was a little bit like that as well. I was like, well, what do you want in proof? I says, I've got an evidence. Speak to my Mrs. Paula, and she'll tell you that I didn't leave the house. They were fairly nice about it. I've got to admit, they were fairly nice about it. But you're right. The first question was, can you prove it wasn't you? Last time I got a speeding ticket was, I think, 16 years ago. She looked on the records. This Laura looked on the records 16 years ago, and I was caught doing 33 in a 30 zone. And that's the only speeding ticket I've had.
You were going downhill, weren't you?
I was going downhill, yeah. But yeah, it's the only one I've had. And I had to go on with them courses, with them nasty, them speed awareness courses. It's a full day of your life you'll never get back. Take the points, people. It's worth the 3 points.
Particularly if you're Manchester United.
If you're Manchester United, you'll be grateful. But maybe that's what they're going to do. The new manager's going to send them out now, all to get speeding tickets so they can get more 3 points.
Perhaps. Gosh, I'm happy to say that I've not yet, touch wood, been caught speeding. there are sometimes when you're driving down and you don't realise when it changes. I was on the East Lancs tonight and I found myself doing 50 and a 40, and it was an innocent 50 and a 40. I just hadn't realised because the East Lancs, I'm not sure if any listeners will be there. It goes from 40 to 50 to 60 to 40 to 50. It really is one of them roads. I just wasn't thinking, and thankfully there was no one around, so I was fine. Until someone listens to this show, but I will say it was only for a split second, and no one was harmed.
No,
But
was yeah.
speaking of people being harmed and how well they are, Alan, have you got over with Logie?
I am feeling better than what I were. I might still cough at some point tonight. I am still coughing a little bit, but I feel like I'm over the worst of it, if that makes sense. So 4 weeks from when it started, I think I'm now finally coming round, which I need to because I have got 17 days. I want to say 17 days to escape from Meriden. So exactly 3 weeks tomorrow. If you're listening to this on a Saturday, I've got escape from Meriden. So I am. Yeah, I'm a little bit panicking, mate, if I'm honest.
I'd be panicking too. Have you found this that October's gone really, really, really fast? And of course, today's November.
I can't believe it. It's because of we've got the clocks have jumped back into it. It's the clocks have jumped back. So I always get up to take Betty for a walk in the morning, and it's usually around about 5 a.m. that I take her. And the last few days, I've got up at 5 o'clock, and I've put my head torch on, and literally by the time we've got round the corner, it's light. Within 10 minutes, it's light, and I'm like, it don't feel right. I want it back to be dark in the morning and light in the evening.
Yeah, it is kind of scary. I left work the other day at like 4 p.m. and at 10 past 4 it was dark. I know I live in a dark place anyway, but yeah, it was almost pitch black. It was just really bizarre. But as these cold nights are starting to draw in, Alan, what are you drinking? What is warming your cockles tonight?
So I am drinking Brewdog. I've gone back to Brewdog, alcohol free, and I have gone with a Punk AF. Everyone likes a Punk, and yeah, it's great. I love it. It's really refreshing. Just one of them drinks that you can always turn back to and just know it's there waiting for you. I didn't like it. I don't like the alcohol version though. But yeah, a nice Brewdog Punk AF is the key for me.
No, absolutely, Alan. And what I have noticed is when it comes to the AF range, they've got rid of Nanny State. Do you remember Nanny State, which was kind of like their red one?
Yes, you can actually get it though in multi-packs. So I saw it in Morrison's tonight in a multi-pack. So they had Punk AF, Wingman, Elvis Juice, and Nanny State.
Ah, that's interesting because in Tesco's, other supermarkets are available. The multi-pack when it came to the AF was Punk AF, Hazy AF, and then Lost Lager AF and Elvis Juice AF.
Oh, there was a pack with Lost Lager in as well. But yeah, the Nanny State was in there tonight. I know Nanny State was in there. I saw it.
Oh, it's good that they're still making it. I'm happy for that. I am actually on black cherry and raspberry, Rubicon. So no other
Tesco's?
reason, but sorry,
Tesco's?
Tesco's. Yeah, no other reason than I just felt like it.
What? I love your Tesco meal deals. What did you get with it this week?
I got a Christmas wrap, Alan, and I don't mean the kind that you have when Buff Selector comes on. A Christmas wrap, which was chicken and cranberry.
An actual like Christmas sandwich, but in a wrap? No, we're not. We're in November, 1st of November, and you're getting Christmas sandwiches already.
Well, bear in mind, I usually buy this at the start of the week. So this was, want to say Tuesday, and yeah, I got a Christmas wrap in October.
That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy.
I do like this time of year because I do like the Christmas sandwiches. They all do it slightly different. So I can't wait to go to Sainsbury's because they do pigs under blanket.
Big under blanket. We haven't even got rid of Halloween. Oh, well, we got rid of Halloween this week, but you bought this pre-Halloween and pre-bonfire. That just doesn't feel right though, Ian. We can't do that. Christmas can't come before bonfire night's over.
You say that, but I'm really enjoying these Cadbury's mini eggs.
That doesn't surprise me because Easter always, I'm sure that Easter this year, once again, will come before Christmas.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. You can get cream eggs if you know where to look.
Yeah, yeah. You can't miss a good cream egg. I got some chocolates the other day. Oh, I got some celebrations from someone at work. So one of the customers came in and brought me celebrations. So I've left them on the side at work for the people to eat because I won't touch them. You never know the people I deal with, what's in them chocolates. So I'm sorry, but I won't touch them chocolates. Someone else can test them well before me.
So you are like a Roman emperor. You have your own food tasters.
Yeah, definitely, without a doubt, mate, without a doubt.
Okay,
Shall we move on?
I'm gonna tie a bow on this, but I just say I do love this time of year. And whilst I was at High Rocks this weekend, I got an advent calendar, Alan. I got an advent calendar. We're all ready.
So you got an advent calendar at IROX.
Not a High Rocks advent calendar, a advent calendar from Resorts World, which was next to High Rocks.
So is this a chocolate advent calendar or is this some special type of bag? Because I'm thinking resorts and it's hotels. Yeah. So if you've got a hotel one, does this mean you get discounted hotels for that all throughout December?
I wish, but no. Resorts World is like a Lowry outlet mall, but not as good,
All right.
which is weird if you consider Lowry outlet mall. But anyway, what they do have there is a Lindor shop, and you can make your own advent calendar for 15 quid, and you can put whatever Lindor chocolates you want in it.
Oh, that sounds like a bargain. That's like
It
an absolute steal. Lindor chocolates, 24 for 15 quid.
24 for 15 quid. And if you know how to do your cards right, they also do like the little coins as well, and you can get three of them in the window.
Oh, look at you. You're turning into a Yorkshireman, you are.
Take that back. so, so yeah, I love this time of year. I do agree with you. I miss it being light in the day, and I suppose we should chat about the fact that if you're running at night now, the nights are upon us. Unless you're finishing work at 2, you're going to be running in the dark.
Without a doubt. And this week, I learnt the hard way to make sure you have your head torch with you at all times. Me, Jamie, Rob, our usual Tuesday night run, all took our head torches. Unfortunately, I've not even tried to charge mine up. So when I turned it on, there was no light at all. After a mile and a half, Rob's went. 4 miles into it, we're still running with Jamie's, and Jamie's went. So we decided to turn around and do a slow run back. And within 300 meters of running down this track, Jamie went over and has now gone and his ankles ballooned up like a football. We had to walk the 4 miles back, and it looks like Jamie's potentially going to be out of escape from Meriden. So yeah, lesson learnt there. Always make sure your head torches are shiny. Always make and working fully charged before you go out. You don't want to get injured. And I want to say to females out there, be mindful if you're running. Even the males actually. Anyone who's running at night down lonely tracks and that, please be aware about your surroundings. Don't run with. The worst thing you can do is run with headphones in. Make sure you're completely aware of everything that's going off around you.
No, absolutely, Alan. And I'll add to that guys and some girls as well, be cautious about your interactions with other people in that you could accidentally scare someone. I know we're all friendly because we're all within the community, but not everyone who's running is like that. They may be running for the first time. So particularly if you're a guy, consider making sure if you are running and there's a female near you, cross the road, just do something, run the other way, just do something to make people feel comfortable.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's not all about you. You're not the main character.
exactly. I think we talked about that last year as well, Ian. But it still stands no matter what, doesn't it? We were sending the same message to everyone.
No, absolutely. And if you are going to be creeping up on someone, just give a call. Don't do it in a negative way. Just give a call. Maybe wait so you can just hop onto the road to pass. Do it when it's safe, please. Please, please do it when it's safe. But yeah, just be cautious about everyone else around you. And be very cautious next week because there's going to be fireworks aplenty and you don't want to get a rocket falling on your head.
Definitely, definitely. Talking about messages, though, let's talk about our good friend over the pond, Matt B. Davies, put a message out this week. Bit of a teaser. Um, jumped before we we was expecting it, but that's Matt for us, and we love him for it. That we are now partnering with ORM, which I guess we always have done from start, but we've made it a little bit official now, Ian.
Yeah, we have. This is definitely a case of aim, ready, fire. We recorded that little video quite a while ago because this has been boiling over. And when Matt was over, we recorded it. It then got placed on the back burner, basically awaiting some kind of agreement between us all as to how it will work. We probably still don't have a general agreement of how it's going to work, but Matt wanted to release that, and yeah, we were happy enough for him to release it. We perhaps should have asked him for editorial check before he put it out there because some words mean different things in different countries. So in English, this is a strategic partnership. There's not going to be much changes. Me and Alan are going absolutely nowhere. Unfortunately, listener, or fortunately, depending how you feel like it. It is not any kind of takeover. It's a partnership. And talking frankly, from our point of view, Matt's going to be helping us from seeking sponsors, from putting together advertising packs, all that stuff that Matt's really good at. And it helps that he does this full time and me and Alan don't. So that's how he's going to help us. In return, we will help him when it comes to UK-based things and to High Rocks type things because we've been doing it a bit longer than him. And we also have experience with British obstacle sports. The association in America is still not where British obstacle is, so we can help Matt with that. But it is not a merger. He is not taking over. We're not taking over his. We will be separate entities, and we're just going to see where it goes. It's what I'd call it, Alan, it's a special relationship.
Yeah, it is. It's what's always been there, but which is now a little bit more. We're going to be a little bit more formal. That's all. But I think, as you've said it perfect there, Ian. Nothing's going to change from our point of view. In terms of we're still going to try and bring quality content and our own way of doing things. That's not going to change, and we're not going to be flying off all around the world. Well, I'm not going to be flying off all around the world unless Matt's got a private plane that we don't know about.
I believe Will's booked that out for the next 6 months, so we've no chance.
Yeah. So we just want to tell you listeners just that's exactly what's happening. We don't want to hide it from anyone. It is a strategic partnership. That is probably the right word for the English to understand. Yeah,
exactly. Because merger has all kinds of weird connotations over here, and it's not a merger. I did see one of our podcast hosts, Libby, asking, "Does this mean the end of pint-size OCR, or will I still be able to do pint-size OCR?" Based on the fact that they're stealing our recording time as we speak, yeah, pint-size OCR is very much still going to be here.
And Huzart and Stumped. Yeah, none of that's going to change. We're not going to change anything that we're currently doing. We're going to bring everyone, still what we're doing. Matt is just really going to help us, hopefully, get some sponsorship so we can get better coverage. I think we've said this here all along, haven't we? We want to be able to go to the big races, whether that be fitness racing or OCR, and get coverage in some way, shape, or form. And because we work and we're not experts at this, we've dabbled in it for a few years, but we're not experts of it, and Matt is. And hopefully he can bring his expertise to help us out.
Exactly. And we do have a number of partners who we're still working with, and that will not change because we like them. So we've got High Socks, who you can use code UKHXR for those. We also have Caffeine Bullet, code UK OCR for them. I've also got people like John Stevenson at Roar Long, which go and check out his YouTube. We have a very much Star Trek relationship with John, don't we? In that we promote Rolong and all the fab things he does over there, and he helps us a lot when it comes to some editing and some really cool stuff that you hear. and that's not going to change either.
No, no. So we're just going to keep on doing our thing. But that's our little bit of news between us. We have got some other news to give out, Ian. So first of all, before we talk about OCR and stuff like that, did you see that the half marathon record got broken for the men this last week?
I must have missed it. Sorry, Alan. I think that would have been when I was in Birmingham.
Okay, so I hope I'm not going to butcher this name, but Yomif Kejulcha, I hope that's how we pronounce it, broke the half marathon in Valencia. And I want to bring this up, Ian, purely because of the times he ran. So the overall time, 57 minutes 30. We know that's fast, 13 miles in 57 minutes 30. But let's break that down. Okay. So 5 kilometers, yeah, these are his 5 kilometer times. The first 5 kilometers, 13:38. Second 5 kilometers, 13:34. Then 13:44 and 13:36. That would win any parkrun in the UK.
How cool would it be if he went from parkrun to parkrun?
That is, that would be so cool. But he ran 27-minute 12 10K and 27-minute 20 10K as well. I mean, Ian, that's phenomenal. A 13:38 5K.
It is phenomenal. And I'm just thinking, isn't there a part run where they're actually only separated by like a mile? He could do both in a day.
You know, there's Christmas is coming up, and I'm talking about Christmas. At Christmas and that round where we live, I think it's on Boxing Day. They always tend to try and get two park runs in, so you can do Barnsley and Nostell Priory, or you can do Concord and Bowsheaf, I think it is, which are in Sheffield. But they usually have two park runs. He could go and do both and just smash both of them.
Well, as I say, he could do that any time if he just goes to this place within a mile of each other and start late on the second one, and he still wouldn't be the last finisher.
Yeah, it wouldn't, would it? Oh, Ian, it's amazing. Do you think? And I think I might have talked about this, but the running world is changing. We've got these new shoes. I mean, he ran in Nike Alpha Flies, I think they were. So that means like both the men's and the women's record is now with the same shoe. That hasn't happened for quite a while. How much do you think the shoes are making a difference?
I think a tremendous amount of difference. And I also, this came up on a recent podcast, which we haven't released yet, but it'll be out next week. I also think they're dangerous.
Oh, that's interesting. Do we have to wait for the podcast, or can you give us a little teaser?
No, I'll talk about it now. For athletes like these people who are breaking the records, they're fantastic. They're great. For regular athletes, the problem is they're using them like it's a regular trainer, and they're doing their slow runs in them. And I was talking this on the podcast and also to Neil Raby, who big fan of the show, who listens each week. He actually calls them cheat shoes.
Yeah.
I might need to agree, but yeah, he calls them cheat shoes, and they put your foot in such a unnatural position that if you're doing a slow run in them, you're gonna mess up your knees, you're gonna mess up your quads, you're gonna mess up your calves.
I get that. I think Puma's released one that looks like the back of a shoe and the front of a shoe stuck together, and it's like it looks really unnatural. I mean, I don't know whether people are running in it, but I tend to agree. I mean, I've got some of the very early Nike ones, and I only use them. So I've used them for high rocks. I've used them for high rocks when we've been running, but I'm using them for a full pace runs. You know, when I talk about I'm trying to run as fast as I can. Whereas on the road, I've got some Nike Pegasus, which I tend to use as a training shoe as opposed to I don't race on roads. The only reason I do them is for high rocks. So I've got some Nike Alphas and that. But yeah, you're quite right. If you're using them to run training runs in, first of all, you're not going to benefit from them, because they're not meant to be going slow shoes. They're meant to be, full pace, fast shoes, get that rebound effect. And secondly, if you're putting your foot in a natural position, then that's just going to damage you at long term.
It's something we will probably see more and more. Think of how many of our friends we are seeing who are getting injured, and it's always worth just asking them, what shoes were you wearing? I presume that Jamie was wearing Alpha Flies when he took a tumble.
He wasn't actually. He was wearing some Ultra Bow or something or other, Mont Blanc Bow or something or other. They're nice shoes. He bought them especially for Escape from Meriden. Ultra running shoes. The ones without laces that you just they have little dials on to tighten them up and that. Really nice shoes.
Oh, I remember when lots of shoes did that. Didn't Salomons used to do that? The trail shoe that everyone had.
I think they did. Have only ever had Salomon shoes once. Yeah, yeah, those were in the front, weren't they? Was it Speedgo? The original Speedgo used to have it on, I think. So I had some
Yes.
originals, and I don't like Salomon shoes. They don't suit my. They don't suit me. I got Achilles tendon problems for a good 6 or 7 months after I wore them. I think I wore them for about a month, and then the Achilles started to hurt, and it just continued for about 6 or 7 months. I changed my shoes, and it took me a long time to recover from them.
Do you remember talking about Salomons? And we're going off a tangent, but it will be one that the listener will probably enjoy. Do you remember when Salomons were one of the four squares of the OCR starter kit alongside a beard, a kick brakes, and a dry robe?
Yeah. Yeah, it was. I think back then, you're right. It was either you had one of two pair of shoes. You either had Innovate Mud Claws or you had Salomon Speedcross. Those was the only two shoes that were ever out at the time, until we got a few other brands that come through. But yeah, nostalgia there.
Absolutely. And listener, I'm curious, what are the four squares of fitness racing? What does everyone have if they're a fitness racer? Let us know either in the pub or wherever you're listening, however you can get in touch. I'm genuinely curious on that. Let's move on, Alan, to, well, should we talk about Feel Fit?
Yes, let's mention Jack Carpenter. His radiotherapy started this week. So this last week, his radiotherapy started. If anyone still follows him, I still follow, find out what's going off. His fundraising page has now got over 10,000. So massive well done to everyone who in the OCR world has donated. Unfortunately, his health is, it looks like it's potentially not going to come back to what it was. So they are saying farewell to Field Fit, which is a pity, a shame. So there's going to be a final chance to test yourself though on the amazing obstacles down there, but it's going to close its doors because of Jack's health reasons. And Dave Peters, everyone knows Dave Peters. Apparently, I don't because I get him always mixed up with about five other people. But apparently, Dave Peters he's kindly offered to organise an event with all entries going straight to Jack's fundraiser. So it's an OCR to support your own. And it will be like an OCR boot camp challenge, what I'm told about. I'm not going to go into great detail, okay, because I'm going to try and get Dave on next week to come and tell us a little bit more about it. But basically, it's going to be around about £30 a ticket. You donate more if you want to donate more, and they're going to do age groups and juniors and adults and everything that's going to go off. So hopefully we can get Dave on next week. I have asked him to pop on, tell us a little bit more and how we can all sign up for it, but and when it's going to be, because we don't know what date it's going to be, but it's all going to happen quite quickly. So I do believe it's going to be by the end of this year, which is going to be great. And let's hope we can all get down and have some fun down there.
Fantastic. So, listener, we're taking bets on who will be on the show next week. It could be anyone if Alan's responsible for inviting Dave Peters on. So let's take bets on that. And I'm sure Dave Peters will be on in 2 weeks when we find out that Alan's made a mistake.
Yeah, who's the real Dave Peters? Can the real Dave Peters please stand up? Please stand up. Can the real Dave Peters please stand up? We should play that at the awards ceremony.
We absolutely should. That'll be hilarious. But speaking of the real organization, please standing up. Have you seen the drama in the adventure running scene, Alan?
I've seen the drama in the adventure running scene, and oh, Ian, this is how can I put this? Ian Adamson, who some people love, some people don't, some people actually hate, is gone to UIPM and he's turned around and basically said, "We are obstacle course racing, we are ninja, we are adventure racing as well." And UIPM, if I read this right, are going to have a vote on whether adventure racing should be swallowed up by UIPM.
Yeah, there's just one small teeny tiny problem with this, isn't there, Alan?
I don't think it's a teeny tiny problem, but yeah, there is, Ian. So, Adventure Racing has its own organisation. It's International Adventure Racing Association. It has its own organisation. It doesn't answer to Ian Adamson. Ian Adamson and World Obstacle have nothing to do with adventure racing because it's got its own format. So they've started a hashtag AR says no. This could go global.
Very much so. Should we just remind the listener what adventure racing is? If you're not aware, and I'll be honest, I can't often decide where OCR ends and adventure racing begins, but this is more not about obstacles. It's sky running, isn't it, Alan? It's mountain running. It's that kind of thing.
It usually tends to be multi-day events, and it has different disciplines, which are mountain biking, climbing, swimming, running, hiking. You know, Ryan Atkinson was on was it the hardest race in the world not long since on Netflix about 2 years ago, I think it was called the toughest race in the world, which was the ultimate adventure race. It can be many different things, does tend to be over long distances, and does normally incorporate more than one discipline.
And what apparently doesn't incorporate is World Obstacle.
And what it doesn't incorporate is definitely his World Obstacle, Ian. Although Ian Adamson seems to give us. I think Ian Adamson's background was in adventure racing, though, wasn't he? I think he was quite good at it, I believe.
I have no clue. But Alan, your background is in football. My background is in American football. So I'm declaring us now in charge of international football affairs and international American football affairs. We're rich.
High five, Ian. Good call. It's shocking. It really is shocking, and I think it's been called out. So in the article that we've got from International Adventure Racing Association, they basically called him out and saying that they're asking their federations to write letters to UIPM basically and say, look, we don't agree with it. We are the governing body of adventure racing. Ian Adamson and World Obstacle have no standing in adventure racing. It's self-appointed, therefore you can't incorporate us. It makes me wonder behind the scenes what is promising them.
What? Modern pentathlon.
What is modern pentathlon being promised? Because do I personally think obstacle core racing is going to get swallowed up by UIPM? I do. I'll be honest and say I think there's a real high chance of it. And the reason why I think there's a high chance, I think they've got so much to offer us, in terms of organisation and things like that. I don't necessarily think it'd be a bad move. I think we're all against it because it's the community thing. And I'm not going to say I'm for it or against it at this moment in time. I want to know more details. But they've got so much already going. They've been there, they've seen it, they've done it. What we're not going to get is we're not then going to get as much of a pot of money as a national governing body as we could do if we were alone. So if, let's just say British Obstacle Sports, for instance, and this is hypothetical, people, all right? So I know nothing behind the scenes, but if British Obstacle Sports, standalone national governing body, which they currently are, when they become affiliated, they will get a pot of money given to them by the government, or they can apply for a pot of money to promote things. If they become part of Pentathlon GB, which is what World Obstacles are trying to publish, they're trying to be part of UIPM, and if that's the case, then potentially in national governing bodies could become part of national governing bodies for pentathlon. That pot of money is going to be shared between 5 disciplines, or even 6, because you've got UIPM and then all the other disciplines. So the pot of money wouldn't be as big, or wouldn't be as big to apply for. That's my understanding behind it all. I might be wrong, and I hope someone can tell me I am wrong. I'm currently I'm right on the fence. Yeah, I am right on the fence with all this. I can see pluses and I can see minuses for both sides of it. And I don't know where I'm going to fall. I really don't know where I'm going to fall, but that's just my opinion. And I'm going to really try and stay on the fence as much as I can and give you both sides of this, listen, because I don't want to swing anyone's vote should we should it come to a vote of us joining? I don't want to swing that vote. I don't want to swing people's votes. Everyone's got to make their own decisions.
And Alan, I think I'll probably just agree with you. Obviously, in the past, I've been highly critical of some things of World Obstacle. I've also been complimentary of some of the stuff that British Obstacle have done. And what I'm hearing from Pentathlon GB tends to be quite good too. So I'll sit on that fence with you and tell the listeners to make their own mind up. One thing, though, that I don't think there can be any disagreement on, Alan, is High Rocks Birmingham, the disgraceful behaviour of one athlete who kind of cast a shadow over the whole event for some people.
Without a doubt, Ian, this is when I saw this, I was absolutely shocked, gutted, upset. And this is one of the reasons why I support British Obstacle Sports. Because in British Obstacle Sports' code of conduct, this wouldn't be happening. This person who's what they've done, and we're going to talk about what they've done, will be instantly banned from OCR and attending any other event because of what they've done. So it's shocking. Tell the listeners what they've done because I'm lost for words.
Well, we'll give the abridged version. If you want a more detailed version, go and listen to Fitness Racing Podcast, Birmingham Review Show, where we go into it a little bit more. But the abridged version is that a referee at the burpee station was rightly trying to call back an athlete for doing incorrect burpees. So the athlete wasn't listening. So the referee stood in front of the athlete to block their way because they can't progress. The athlete stood up, pushed him down to the floor. He then pushed the judge again after the judge got up and slapped him. And honestly, Alan, there is no room for that in this sport. Absolutely no room for that in this sport.
Not in any sport, Ian. Whether it be OCR, high rocks, running, football, cricket, any sport except boxing. Yeah, because that's where it's allowed to hit your opponents in boxing. But in any sport, you're not allowed to hit a judge. And this is the thing, you know what I mean? Even if it was another athlete, it wouldn't be allowed. But this is a judge. This is a volunteer. This is someone who's given up their time to ensure that it's a fair sport for everyone to take part in. And he goes and gets smacked. It's disgusting behaviour. I don't know the update. I don't know if they've got the athlete and they've thrown the book at him or whatever. But to me, I'm sorry. I hope there's video evidence and I hope the athlete is spoken to by the authorities.
Yeah, exactly. I can't say any clearer than that. My understanding is investigations continue. I believe there has been progress made. I don't really want to say anything more than that, Alan, because it's an ongoing investigation. Hopefully, eventually we'll be able to update with some positive news, but stay tuned. I said this on Fitness Racing Podcast. I'll repeat it again today. These things are so rare, and that's why we're talking about it, because it is so rare. And we report the news, and it is newsworthy because it's so rare. On the other hand, Alan, there was over 12 to 13,000 athletes there who acted impeccably, had a great time, and Birmingham High Rocks was so much fun. I wish you could have been there.
Completely agree. I understand as well that in mixed doubles there was an adaptive athlete going around.
There were, well, an adaptive athlete and a athlete who's not adaptive but was in a wheelchair to get the experience of being an adaptive athlete. So this was Charlotte and Jake Williamson. Charlotte Burnett, I believe her surname is. Charlotte, we've talked about on the show before. I think you saw her in Manchester when you came. You saw her take part. Jake is her coach, and they wanted to try out the adaptive doubles, and yeah, they did really, really well. What was interesting is I was a judge at the time, and it probably should go without saying what I'm about to say, but Charlotte was kicking Jake's backside when it came to how fast she was going and how adept at the various stations she was in their adaptive forms. Jake is a fantastic athlete. He's a world champion in the High Rocks relay. But if you've never really self-propelled a wheelchair before, and he has been training, but if it's not your life, it's actually a really hard skill.
Yeah, I can imagine it was. How did they manage going round the track with the other runners and that? Because, like you say, this is not their being in a wheelchair is not the normal thing for them. How did they manage that? Were they all right with it?
I believe they were fine. Obviously, for Charlotte, it is. She is an adaptive
Yeah,
athlete. She just spent her life in a chair. And yeah, they were probably going faster than most other athletes. So they probably would be taking that inside lane. They did have a member of High Rock staff tailing them, tipping off the workout stations for when they were about to enter so that adaptations could be made. So on the sled pull where I was, they cleared out three of the lanes so that they could complete the station, and then they had room to maneuver. So yeah, it was cracking. It was fantastic. But one thing I'm not yet sure, and I'm suspect this would be something that B would be interested about, is whether you can do a mixed doubles adaptive where one of the athletes is not adaptive and is not being adaptive. I'm not sure if that's possible yet.
okay, that would be interesting. Yeah, I think they should be able to do that.
Yeah, I do wonder how we're gonna do that because of course the stations are modified, so I'm not
Yeah,
sure whether it would be a case of deciding whether the regular athlete is going to do it unmodified or the adaptive athlete will just have to do all the workout station. I'm not sure. It's definitely a developing story. Full plaudits to High Rocks for doing this. I mentioned this on Fitness Racing Podcast, sure, but adaptive waves are now available online for certain races. I know Frankfurt definitely has that. I think maybe Chicago in the USA or another one, maybe Vegas in the USA currently has adaptive waves. So definitely go and check that. But speaking of mixed doubles, Alan, me and Jen went for a bimble.
you went for it. Yeah, I was going to ask you, how did the Bimble go?
It went fine. We enjoyed it. Of course, Jen at the moment, she's still got her issues with her legs, so she can't run as fast as she used to be able to whilst waiting for the doctors to. Sorry, it's not super serious, but it is serious. It's fluid on the legs, and they just need to look into it and figure it out. But our stations were great. The lunges were fine until I injured my cowboy muscle, I'm going to call it.
Go on, what's the cowboy muscle? I want to know what the cowboy muscle is.
The inner thigh area, because when you're on a horseback, you need your cowboy muscles.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I get that one. Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, I had hurt it earlier a little bit on the sled push. And then doing the lunges, I was meant to finish off the lunges. I was about 5 meters, maybe 6 meters away from finishing. I went down for a lunge and yeah, I screamed out in pain. It wasn't a happy place. But rather than carry on, Jen took the bag and we finished it off. And I was fine for wall balls.
Oh, cool. Cool. And how did the wall balls go for you? Because I know I've heard a little bit of mixed bag about the judging at the wall balls because I have seen some video where someone was hitting the wall balls and the judge was saying no wall ball because it wasn't actually hitting the cross. So how did the wall balls go for you?
It went fine. I had five no reps total, and they were all for hitting the target too high, which is shocking for me when you think about it. Because as you saw, Alan, with the 9 kg, I got nowhere near the target, but with a 6 kg ball, it was flying. But yeah, only five no reps. I did probably more than 50 this time. Me and Jen just kept swapping in whenever we needed to. So yeah, I'm not going to say I'm great at the wall balls because I'm clearly not, but we're getting better.
Yeah. I need to work on the squatting because I'm like I think we've said in the past, I think I'm squatting, but I'm nowhere near squatting. So I need to work on that squat maneuver.
Absolutely. And Alan, all you need to do is just widen your feet. That's the
Yeah.
easiest way to do it.
That I think someone else messaged me about that. I can't. Oh, I'm going to say I'm sorry now, whoever messaged me, but someone messaged me about it and said I need to widen my feet. So yeah, I take that on board when I go next time.
Yeah, and that'll be, well, after WTM. So maybe this time next year, maybe we get you at Birmingham.
This time next year, hopefully next year we can maybe do a dirty dozen as well, and a deadly dozen, not a dirty dozen, a deadly dozen, as well as High Rocks after WTM.
Sounds like a great plan, Alan. Final thing on High Rocks. The stream was a lot of fun, Alan, and lots of people enjoyed it. The only thing is, and this was a first for me, was some of the feedback because I do it on Instagram Live, so I can see the messages as they're coming through. The amount of newbies tuning in was definitely an experience for me. I've never had it before.
All right. Were there a lot of comments from them?
Yeah, mostly. Could you find my mate Bob?
So we're going around asking, well, Bob, has anyone seen Bob?
Yeah, I had to continuously explain we follow the leaders because that's all you can do with a race like that. You have it in OCR, don't you? When you're following an OCR, you have to follow the leaders because otherwise you've no idea what's going on.
No, no. I think maybe what we need to do is look at a way where we can stream both to IG and YouTube at the same time.
Yeah, we definitely need to do that. That would be a great way. I guess the cheap and nasty way would be that I just do it on IG and you just rip it off the stream and put it up there.
Yeah, that's we could do that then. Shall we do that? Shall we do that this week? We rip your off IG and we put it onto YouTube this week.
You can do, except I'm not planning to stream this week, but by all means.
No, but the one that you did last week.
Yeah, of course you can. Just rip it. You could easily just rip the stream off IG and then just throw it on YouTube.
There we go. There we go, listener. Watch out, YouTube this week. We will have High Rocks coming up as soon as I can get around to doing it.
Right, let's have a look what else we have. Oh, this was interesting that Graham sent us. It seems that Spartan are going full Oprah Winfrey, aren't they?
I love this. I think his actual comment was a world championship for everyone or something, wasn't it?
Absolutely. You get world champs, they get world champs, everyone gets a world champs.
So let's get this right then. So in December 2025, we have got the Abu Dhabi in the United Emirates, the Beast World Championships. On the October 11th, the 100-meter World Championships in Croatia. And on the October the 12th, the Sprint World Championships in Croatia. July the 4th, the Ultra World Championships in Morzine. On September 5th and 7th, the Trifecta World Championships in West Virginia. And October 5th, the Super World Championships in California. So, my question is, though, it's not for everyone, because where's the British one?
That's a good point. Where is the British champs? Where's the Isle of Man champs, Alan? That's what I want to know. And where's the Antarctic champs? Mumbo's Happy Feet deserves the right to defend his crown.
You just said Antarctica then. I've got Joe DeSena listening to this podcast, and he's going to be going, guys, we've missed Antarctica. We've missed Antarctica. Was it Pinky and the Brain? I got visions of him being Pinky and the Brain. What we're going to do today, we're going to take over the world.
You know what? Now you mentioned that, Joe DeSena does kind of look like Brain.
He does, doesn't he? We're going to get a cease and desist letter now.
Oh, it won't be the first time.
It wouldn't.
But honestly, Alan, was the world really calling out for a super championship?
No, it wasn't. Well, I don't know what to make of it. End of the day, it reminds me very much. If you go back to the 80s, sorry, no, it's the 2017, 2018 period, there was Bigfoot. Do you remember Bigfoot race? And all of a sudden he turned around and said, we're going to have the World Team OCR Championships. And then we had Adventure doing the World Championship, someone else as well. And it was like everyone was calling themselves the World Championships. And then we got the British Championships, which wasn't really the British Champion. And then we got the UK Championships. And it was like a case of everyone wanted to call their race a championship race. And it diluted the field. And that's what I feel the Spartan are doing. And more so with the Ultra World Championships. Because they've got WTM. I thought WTM was going to be their Ultra World Championship for everyone. But no, they're still going to go with Morzine.
Honestly, I'd be happy with just 3 or 4. So you'd have a 100-meter championship, a short course, which was about 3K, a classic course, which was 10 to 12, and then an ultra. Be that an ultra beast, be that a WTM, I don't care. And Bob's your uncle.
Yeah. To attract the best athletes, though, they've got to pay good money, haven't they? They've got to be paying people to race, not actually to race, but paying people when they win. That's always the thing, and that's what Spartan have been good at throughout the years. They've been good at offering prize money until paying it's a different matter, but they've been good at offering prize money. I'm not hearing nothing about prize money about these. So will it attract the best racers? I'm not convinced it will. I think maybe Abu Dhabi might do. United Arab Emirates. I think that's probably going to attract people still, but I don't see attracting the athletes as in the past unless they're going to offer big money. It's great that they'll fly Ryan out there and Lindsay out there and VJ out there and John Albon out there, and they'll pay for all these athletes to go. You know what I mean? That's great that they're doing that. But if you want to fetch athletes, so let's say Dan Titcombe, for instance, the best OCR racer in the UK, he won the UK OCR series, arguably the best by far. He's potentially not going to get an invite. So you've got the best racer in the UK who's then got to pay for his entry fee. And if he's going to go out there and there's no prize money, what's the incentive for him to go?
There's no incentive to go to all of them. Maybe one, and you just pick one. Mm-hmm. But the problem is, which one do you pick? Because they're not that different. Like, if you're a good super guy, are you really going to go? You're probably a good sprint person as well. The difference between the sprint and super is not massive.
And we've seen that in the UK this year. We have got Russell Walsh won the 3K series. I think he was second in the UK OCR series, and I believe he was second or third in the endurance. I don't know. I haven't seen the endurance results yet, but I'm assuming he's right up there in the endurance league as well. That guy can cover all three. Dassos won the Masters in the UK OCR series, won the endurance league. We've got athletes that can cross over distances. So you're right. Why have multi distances just that are not that big a difference? 5K, 10K, half marathon. Maybe it's the road element.
Maybe it is. Again, I would perhaps redefine what I said earlier. Maybe all you need is 100 meters because that is definitely different athletes.
Yeah.
You then can do anywhere between 3K to maybe a beast and just call it whatever you want to call it as the classic OCR championship. And then you have a 24-hour championship.
I think they get more athletes to them. I think you get the cream of the athletes going to them. But then again, do you want the likes of Russell to go to all three? Because maybe he might not go to the 100 meter, but he might do the other two. But at this moment in time, there's a chance he might want to go to all six.
Well, yeah, exactly. Although he'd be paying his own way.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I'm trying to say. They've got to get the athletes there. They've got to give them some prize money. It's going to be interesting to see if prize money comes out.
No, and I can't wait to see what athletes will be at the Farmyard Jam World Championships next year. The only Farmyard Jam event that is happening. Be the Farmyard Jam World Champion. Get your tickets now.
It's the only 48-hour OCR next year.
It absolutely is the only 48-hour OCR, and it's the only big style race which has a definite finish, which brings me up to last week where we were being a bit coy about it, and we didn't mention the disappointing finish to the big World Championships, did we?
Was it disappointing though?
I don't know. Listener, if you're not already aware, the three, I almost said Italian, but they're not, the three Belgian racers, they just all decided to not go out for another lap. So they all DNF together.
Or did they? Because what's happened is if one would have won and then we had an assist and then we had a third, okay, only two of them people would have gone to Biggs's. As it now stands, all three are going to Biggs's.
Oh, no, that's clever.
That's what I'm saying. They'd won the team championship. Couldn't take it away from them. However, not a single person has gone on to win it solo because they've all quit. And because they've all quit, they've all been awarded winning times.
That's a good point, and I think that's way too clever for a Biggs Ultra. They should all be disqualified. Don't need that kind in a Biggs Ultra. Sorry, backyard Ultra. No, don't need that kind of thinking.
I thought he was clever. I really think that's what they've done. I think there's gone round on them laps and they've talked about it and said, let's end it together and we can all go to the big one up to Biggs in the States and we can hopefully go further than what we have done and we'll have an overall winner. And I think it's a great idea. You've got three of the best ultra runners in the world. It would have been a shame if one of them couldn't go.
I was saying that, Alan. Would you have been tempted to do a Golden Balls style move of all going, yeah, yeah, guys, we're just calling it, and then you sneak off and run for that last lap?
See, that would have been evil, wouldn't it? But then again, if one of them had done that, then the other two might have got it because they've got assists.
That is quite true. That's definitely quite true. Right, Alan, I think we're almost about ready to start wrapping this up, but let's give another shout out to the Shropshire Mud Run, which is sadly just still the Shropshire Mud Run, not the Silly Bang whizzing deviously machine sponsored by a detergent company, Mud Run anymore. But it is coming up in November. It is, I believe, the 9th of November, so not this week, next week.
Yep, it is. It is.
So
And we've got go on,
I was going to say, get your tickets.
get your tickets. We've got Nuclear this weekend, which is
We,
an amazing event.
we do indeed. It's going to be interesting what goes on, isn't it, Alan?
Yeah, it's I like the medals. Have you seen the medals, the medallion medals that they've been releasing this week? They look big, they look massive. It looks like the Fallout, isn't it? It's Fallout. I couldn't remember its name, this one. This is Fallout. It looks like it's going to be a big event. I've seen pictures of Nuclear getting the travelators out. It looks like they're going to have all the big obstacles. So I think it's going to be a great event. I'm really looking forward to seeing some live or even not live, whether it be whatever coming through on Instagram this weekend from down there.
Do you reckon for many it's kind of like a end of season party? I know we've got Shropshire the week after.
Without a doubt, it's coming right up to the end of the season, and this is usually the time now we start looking at our awards and doing our voting and things like that. So that'll be happening in the next month or so. Long time, Ian.
It is, and we probably should get on with booking the awards for next year because suddenly we're in November and we thought we had a plan when you had your barbecue in the summer, and I can't believe that was like 3 or 4 months ago.
It's still potentially going, but it's not moved on much from there. I will chase it up this week. Listen, hopefully, we can release something very soon. But we have got plans for this year. The awards will be going off in 2025 again. We've got to have the awards because we've got some checks to give away to the UKOCR winners.
Wait, if we don't have the awards, can we keep the checks?
No, Ian, we can't. That wouldn't be fair. That no, we can't keep the checks, Ian. Well, hang on a minute. Let me think. Can we? No, well, that was a whole different organisation before British Obstacle Sports that kept the checks, wasn't it?
It absolutely was. And listener, that wasn't a serious suggestion, but yeah, we'll have the awards. And final little shout out, and I think we should discuss this next week, Alan, is obviously the night before you're listening to this was Halloween, which always makes me think of Reaper, which always happened this
Loved it.
time. And I'm going to ask for listeners, give us your best Reaper Mud Run memories, and we're going to go through them next week.
Oh, definitely, yeah. Drop me a voice note on whatever. Drop it over to me on, let's say, WhatsApp. Drop it over to WhatsApp. I'll give my phone number out. I don't mind giving my phone number out, but please don't ring me, people. 07951 757 Drop me a WhatsApp message and we will play them next week.
Absolutely. And if you don't want to do WhatsApp, just send us a little text and we'll read it out.
Definitely. Definitely. I like a bit of that. My favourite Reaper message, I'm going to give now before my favourite Reaper message, was Carl in a Teletubby suit. Now, Will Chung will get this. Will Chung's got a photo. I'm sure he'll pop it up somewhere, but it was Carl in a Teletubby suit.
No, absolutely. That was hilarious. And if you didn't catch that number, just reach out to us at the Facebook or admin at ukocr.com and Alan will drop you a quick message with the phone number so you can leave a voice note.
Wonderful. And on that, Ian, shall we say bye to people?
I believe we should. I'm going to say good luck to everyone at Nuclear this week. If you've nothing the week after, have a think about Shropshire as well. And any other OCRs. We need to have a look what's left on the calendar, Alan, and we'll shout out any remaining races next week. But until then, it's a goodbye from me.
And listeners, thank you for listening once again. You take care, you stay safe, you keep on running, and we will speak to you all soon. Bye!